Stir me up.
Oh, God.
What? I'm feeling inspired. Fuck yeah. Sorry. Okay. Singing this morning. You guys, welcome to the Hey Frase Podcast. We are live. We are live streaming on Periscope, on YouTube, on Facebook. Where else? Twitch. Twitch. Yes. Oh my God. To all the gamers in the basements. We love you. Yes, coffee is for you. Guys, things are so heavy. I'm going to be real honest with you. Okay. This show is going to be all over the place because we're not going to come on here and just like do comedy and pretend that shit isn't hitting the fan. All right. So we're just not. So if you don't want to handle that, if you don't want to comment about it, then this is your show. All right. It's just, that's the way it is today. AJ, we got a lot to talk about since Friday. Our Mika Jones interview was huge with Married at First Sight. Everyone loves her. She's adorable. So great. She was awesome in her convictions with Michael. People really enjoyed the interview. If you guys haven't heard it, it was episode what, AJ? 501?
502.
502. Heyfrase.com. You can go to the website and hit the podcast page, or you can go to iTunes.com and just type in Hey Frase Podcast. Boom, you'll find it right there. So, AJ, how are you holding up? We're going to talk a little Black Lives Matter. We're going to talk about what we're doing to take action, and a few things that white people can do, because certainly I'm very white. And so there's some great articles circulating. And then also later this week, if you guys have any suggestions of a show that you want to do, we're talking to our girl, Danny Starr, who wanted to do a white woman AMA. We are working on that. Hopefully we're going to have an update for you on that so we can figure out how we become really good and really active allies. It's so important. By no means, I don't want to come off up here as preachy. I do not want to come off here like I haven't made mistakes. But I do have a platform. So does AJ. Together, we love doing this show. We love providing absolutely, hopefully, hilarious content. I mean, hopefully you guys find us.
We try.
Hopefully you find us real funny, but maybe not. So normally we love to do comedy and great interviews, but it does not fall on deaf ears that we have this platform. It is so important that we speak up against racism, and we are allies and we need to do more work. So I want to address that today. I put up on my Facebook page 75 things that white people can do to stop racial injustice. It's a great article. It was out by medium.com. I'm taking a lot of the things on the list to heart and doing them. One of the big things was donating. I feel like a lot of white people, I think, watch this and they're like, well, I'm afraid to speak up. I'm afraid to say the wrong thing. I don't know how I can help. And I wanted to get my facts. I wanted to do more research before I came on here and spoke, AJ. And one of the things that I really took to heart was former First Lady Michelle Obama's Instagram, where she said, white people need to figure it out and figure out how you're going to help and become part of the solution. So in doing that, I thought one of the things is I can donate money. So I donated money over the weekend to Black Lives Matter, the DC chapter. That's where this podcast originated from, and Know Your Rights Camp, which is Colin Kaepernick's organization that is helping protesters who are there protesting in Minneapolis with their legal fees after they've been arrested. I think what Colin Kaepernick does is amazing. I continue to educate myself because I too don't say the right thing. Took me a long time to grasp what white privilege is, but I get it. And so I encourage you to keep doing the work. And if you don't like those organizations, there are many, many others, a lot that help women of color who get involved with the legal system, because the legal system is a fucking mess. Okay. It really, really is. So you need to figure it out, to do your research. I'm here to help. I don't want to be a preaching person because I'm not perfect. I can't stand that. But I also can't stand when people support Black Lives Matter on their platforms, but then they don't take any action.
Yeah.
So I donated. I've ordered some books that I've been, other people have told me about. There's some book clubs happening that I'm really, really fascinated by, including the book White Fragility. So I'm really curious to read that. And I'm excited for Danny to come on because it's true. I think so many white people take it so personally and get so defensive when they hear the phrase Black Lives Matter. And it's not, Black people aren't saying that white lives don't matter, but they're saying that Black lives need to matter a lot more. And we need to really understand what that is.
We all need to be equal. And the biggest thing I'm doing is just keeping myself informed. I'm reading as many articles as I can. You put out some really good books that I liked, the White Fragility, and just being as informed as possible is the best thing I think I can do as a young individual. And if you have any sort of platform, use it for betterment. Share articles that you think. You shared a really good doc, and we're also posting a bunch of ways to donate as well, all in our comments. So just watch out for those guys. But it is really important, and it's almost hard for us to come on here. Yeah, like we said, we have a comedy podcast, and we want to talk about comedy, but people like Trevor Noah, he talks about politics, but I think he did a really good job with bringing to light he posted a really good Instagram, and I've just been kind of watching all of these different videos and keeping myself as informed and out there as possible. And yeah, I haven't really posted much on social media because I'm waiting just to say the right things, but I think we do have a job to address everything on the podcast.
Yeah. And I feel a great responsibility. I know you do too, AJ, to actually take action,
Yes.
And I think for me, it's like, you've really got to put your money where your mouth is. Now, I know a lot of people, look, shit is also financially hard. We got 40 million people unemployed in this country right now. I personally think it's going to get worse before it gets better on the economic side. So donating might not be an option for you, but there are great things on that medium.com article where you can be calling your local police station. Do you guys have body cameras? Are they on when you go out? If you don't, what is the budget? How do we start fundraising so you guys have those things and accountability? So yes, those are things. And I think too, and I'm so guilty of this in the Black Lives Matter movement. I talk for a living. So it is hard for me to listen and not give an opinion, or I do this in therapy all the time. I'm always trying to save Dan or make his problems go away. So the first thing, my inclination is, oh, well, let's have a big conversation and how can we fix it? And I want to jump in and I want to fix it. But over the years, I've really realized from doing a lot more reading, educating myself, a lot of people want white people to just listen and do what you're being asked to do. And that's a challenge for me because we talk, so I'm like, oh, let's just jump in and we'll solve this problem. It's this, you're talking systemic racism. You're talking hundreds of years. You're talking bank policies that need to be reformed, judicial policies that need to be reformed. So it isn't a kumbaya moment where I'm going to solve anything.
Yeah.
I need to learn to sit back, listen. And so there's some really great voices. I love Killer Mike. I think he's amazing.
Yes.
I think he should run for president or be vice president. I also love the mayor of Atlanta. She's amazing. Love her voice. I think another person too, I love Glennon. Glennon Doyle's a really great voice. She's one of the first people that really got me thinking about, as a white woman, kind of stepping back, shutting up, listening more than I talk and how I can really take action. She's a great voice. And also Brene Brown. I love Brene Brown. And Brene Brown is the one that recommended How to Be an Anti-Racist, that book.
Yes.
So that's a really good one too to check out. So I think that's really important. But also I love Brittany Packett. You guys have probably, Brittany Packnett Cunningham. She's on Pod Save America, the podcast, or Pod Save the People. Sorry, I'm forgetting that all up. But anyway, she's great to follow online. And I think she really gives a good outline for white people of what they can do. I like her voice a lot. And then the person that I'm just following is Rachel Cargill, who's awesome. So she's really, really good. And I just got on board with following her. So anyway, look, I don't want to sit up here and go, oh, hey, I've got the answers or anything like that. I just think AJ and I talked about this before we came on. It's hard to come on this platform, do comedy. And for me personally too, I have a great responsibility, not only because this is the right thing to do to stand up against racism, but I cannot ask Black voices to come on this show and be vulnerable and tell all their stories and then go, oh, well, I'm not going to help. To me, I don't feel like I don't get to do that. I think that's really awful.
Yeah.
So, it's ongoing. And believe me, look, I need a lot of help. So you can jump in and tell us if you have other recommendations that we're not doing or we're not providing to our audience, please, please, please. There are so many people that listen to this podcast and watch that are far more versed on Black Lives Matter, judicial reform, bank reform, mortgage reform that need to happen to help Black Americans. Please tell us. So anyway, there's that.
I'm glad you addressed it. protests are happening around the country. I was watching last night. Ocean City. I'm in Ocean City. It was a really small protest, but there were protests, surprisingly, in Ocean City on the boardwalk, which I was really unbelievable. I did not think there was going to be protests here, but small protests. I know in DC there's been a lot. You're safe in Arlington. You're home now.
Home now, safe in Arlington. I want to get out and protest. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And it's funny, but then I get all hyped. I'm like, oh shit, is coronavirus still going on? Is anyone else forget that we're in a pandemic as well? Like, I mean, shit's hit the fan. I'm like, oh yeah, and also coronavirus.
Shit's hit the fan. No. If you thought 2020 couldn't get any worse, well, here we are. Here we are, folks. Yeah,
here
these
are
pictures from the protests, I think all around the country, but I was watching in DC. I couldn't believe it. Georgetown. I mean, it was actually the newscasters didn't really know how to report it. They're like, it appears as though there is flashbangs. And okay. I mean, I was, love Fox 5, Sarah, but they were, I think they were a little lost in the sauce. They didn't know what was happening really, but it's hard to know, right? Because they're just like, okay, what street is this? They're all trying to communicate with each other as it's happening live and they don't know, so.
I'm curious, everybody in the comments, how do you feel about the protesting? Because I'm going to be honest, and this is an unpopular opinion, but I feel like we can't tell Black people how to protest. Like, I feel like we can't tell people how to protest. And you know what? Here's my thing. And I was actually talking to our friend Paul Wharton this morning. It's like, you want to get people's attention, go loot a fucking Gucci store. Okay, go loot YSL. Because when all these people who go and shop there and think, oh, they're not immune to, societal issues. It's like, well, shit's about to get real when your favorite, Chanel store, you can't go in and buy your $4,000 bag. But I'm curious. Look, I don't want to see there's been deaths for sure with these riots. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. But, I'm curious in the comments. What do you guys think of the protesting? Do you think that, the looting and stuff brings a point, like makes a point, gets it in people's face? Do you think that news outlets should be telling people how to protest?
No, I don't think so. And I think for a majority, it was peaceful protests. Now there's a whole bunch of, people that are coming in and the white supremacists. We don't need to get into all of that, but they're making the protests look dangerous and bad, and they're the ones causing it. But anyway, it's been insane. And there was Gucci and YSL getting looted actually, and Chevy Chase, but that's Chevy Chase. So
good.
That was crazy. Yeah. Go in there and get the expensive stuff.
What is it going to take to get real fucking change? I think people are tired of, we had this experience 5 years ago in Baltimore and nothing changed. Here we are, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. It's like, I'm not advocating violence. And I'm sure people will be like, I can't believe you're on here saying that, what they should be peaceful protests. Well, and what I really enjoy, AJ, is I enjoy the memes where people go, hey, remember when Colin Kaepernick, when Cap peacefully protested and everyone had a problem with that? So it's like you can't win. It's like you can't win either way.
You can never win. And I think that's what they're up against, is just these people that can never say the right or wrong way. There's always going to be a problem.
Okay, so people are saying the protesters aren't the ones looting. The people are agitators. I agree.
Exactly.
I agree.
Right.
And okay, you know what? You want to talk about like conspiracy theories. I'm curious to see what people think about this, but there's a lot of theories online that, you've got a lot of people out there, I don't know, like extremists, maybe more like, anti-Black people who are white people who are coming and looting, trying to distract from what the true narrative is. Do you think that's true? I mean, I know this is like conspiracy.
No, I saw it firsthand. They were reporting on that. You can actually see, you guys know I follow Nikki Glaser a lot. She was watching in Minneapolis. There were a bunch of white protesters, but they're really not protesters, right? They went out there to start trouble. You see them pushing African-American peaceful protesters onto the police officers to incite like a riot, basically, which is exactly what, I mean, they caught that on camera. It's a proven fact. Like, it is happening that white nationalists are going out there and they are causing the riots and the dangerous fights. Like, they're starting it. They're putting out flashbangs. They're putting out, and that's what's starting it.
Look, and I like Danny's comment. I mean, Black people are blatantly targeted. So that's kind of why authorities can't really play the moral card when that's happening. I agree. And guess what? So many Black people have died of incidents like what happened with George Floyd. Their families are never going to speak to them ever again. You're never going to get a call from Breonna Taylor again. They're her sister, her parents, never again. So we're going to really tell people how they should protest. who have been discriminated against in this country and held back for years. Really? They're never going to speak to their loved ones. Imagine that. It blows my mind. I can't even go on Twitter anymore. I can't. I'm so, because everybody on Twitter, it's like, everybody thinks they know the answer. They can't wait to jump in, tell somebody how they should be protesting. Alexandra says, to those who say violent protests are the wrong way to protest, what do you suggest they do then? Okay, I'm curious as well. What do you think is going to do it? What do you think is going to do it? Because, now I've heard a lot of people say vote. You got to do your census. You've got to vote.
Because clearly the leadership in our country is an embarrassment. I am not afraid to say that. Never have ever before has a leader turned off the entire lights of the White House and just gone to hide out and only released one tweet. He didn't even release a statement. Bush and Obama are coming together and saying, we need to release a statement because we need to discuss this. And we need to show leadership in this, and they're going to come together and they're going to release a statement. And I think they should, because clearly Trump is not in the position to, he has
Oh my God. I mean, vote that fucker out.
Vote out.
Can't we move up the election? I mean, how can we get him out? It's unbelievable. Okay, and Brittany, you bring up a great point. I want to talk about this little fuck, Jake Paul. Jake Paul, the YouTuber, was caught looting instead of peacefully protesting. It's not the people who are actually passionate about the situation. It's the people who want to be involved. All right, anybody else right now? How do we get rid of Jake Paul? Now, and I mean that on his level, but can you
cancel the Paul brothers?
How do you cancel those fucks? I don't believe for 1 second that little puke. He put out a statement. Oh, I was there to stand with Black Lives Matter, and I was just filming it to show my 20 million followers. Fuck you. You 100% are capitalizing off years of racism. You fuck. That kid is such a. How do people even represent that kid? Oh,
I don't know how he still gets views. It's like the way to bring these people down is just stop watching their stuff.
Because he targets like 16 and 17-year-old kids, right? Whose brains are not fully developed. So they think, oh, this is really funny that this kid will go into like whatever, he'll go and, I don't know, slap people in the face and stuff. Jake Paul drove me nuts. I cannot believe that. Does anyone believe him? Does anyone believe him? All right. Is anyone given any suggestions? I'm curious, any suggestions on how people should protest if you don't like what's happening? Yes, love it. Vote. Protesters are not lugging around those bricks. How are they getting there?
Yeah, okay. I've seen videos of a white woman handing a group of Black young men bricks to throw. That's just.
I believe it. The leadership in this country is part of. Oh, I agree. Trump loves what is happening. And that's why we all have a responsibility. We have to do more research. You can't just listen to the media.
Yes, stay informed.
You have to do your own research. We have to have conversations with other people. Trump loves what is happening. Okay, I'm going on a rant here.
Rant it, Sarah.
I agree, Brittany. He isn't passionate about what is happening. He wants attention. It's white privilege. 100%. 100%. You know what? If he's supposedly, I was reading, worth $11 million, Jake Paul is. Really? Okay, well, let's write a check for $150,000 to Black Lives Matter. Let's see if that fuck would do that. If he was really there, like he said, to just document this, to help, really? Well, go post that video and then don't just tell us, screenshot, show us that you write the check when you make $155,000 off that video, that you give it to somebody who, that's fighting racism. But he won't do it. I bet your ass he wouldn't do it.
Jake fucking Paul. Oh my God.
Trump is an energy vampire who thrives on chaos.
I like energy vampire. He is.
He thrives on chaos. He thrives on chaos, and he thrives on fear. And he loves getting his base wound up that, keep these. And the reality is too, people like Trump, all these people benefit by these policies that make these billionaires wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. Keep the people down. That's what they want to do. I was looking for any suggestions, by the way.
Yeah, on our live stream, if you guys have any.
For what people should do for protests. I can't condone the violence and looting either. And many quiet, peaceful protests just aren't heard. In a way, it seems the only way to be really heard. And of course, there are just assholes too. I agree. Yeah, there's going to be assholes, for every protest, but how do you feel about all the, like a lot of the monuments being spray painted? And, you guys, I'm asking you, how do you feel about the monuments being, the Lincoln Memorial? To me, it's like the World War II Memorial.
What you think?
Okay, here's my, well, I'm not like, I'm not encouraging it, but at the same time, I'm like, a monument can be cleaned. We're talking about 400 years of oppression. Really?
Yes.
We're losing sight of, what's really fucking happening here. It's like, really? You're going to get all wound up about that? I don't know.
I know.
But maybe I'm wrong.
Well, it's not that it's like, you're not breaking down the monument, you're just spray painting it to get attention. And I think that's what needs to happen. However you can get attention in a peaceful way, spray painting is not hurting anybody, in my opinion.
I agree. I think, people are getting so caught up in like the monuments getting spray painted. Really? Well, they go out there with a power washer and it's gone in 10 minutes. Hello, we're not bringing people's lives back, I'm so fired up. If you guys have other thoughts, leave them here, other organizations. And one of the things for white people, I think is a great way. If you don't know what to say, you're afraid to speak up, donate $10, don't have Starbucks this week. Donate $10 to Black Lives Matter. Donate $10 to Know Your Rights Camp. If you're afraid yet, you don't know what to say, give money. That's a great way to help.
It does help. And I think reading books, reading essays, getting involved with the Google Docs that people are sharing, watching the videos. I mean, that's how I'm trying to help. And I feel like once I'm informed enough, I think I can make really great posts about things and ways for people to share. Even just using, if you have a smaller platform, you don't think enough people are watching. If you can help one person change their mind in a positive manner, you did something.
Here's a really great, I'm trying to get Tasha on our show. So
Tasha K.
Oh, I want to get, yes. There's a woman named Tasha K. Riles. Okay, so I'm going to put right now, she has a very extensive anti-racism guide. It's a doc that's totally free. Actually, Alyssa, our producer, might be putting them up already. This is really great. Found her through Brittany Cunningham on Twitter.
Is this the doc that you shared it's the Google Doc with a lot of different ways? Okay, yes, that was super helpful.
Let's see. Sorry, Jennifer. Okay. Change will take time. Let's see. What else? I think there was another comment in here. God, don't even get me going on Jake Paul again. Oh, anyway, look. But again, we say, what's the solution then? If you don't want protests, if you don't want violent protests, if you don't want looting, okay, great. Then what's the solution? Stop telling people how to protest.
The crazy thing is, without those videos, without the camera footage, we would continue, the cycle will just continue and continue. And with George Floyd, it's like, if we didn't capture that video, none of this would be starting right now, which is so sad to me. It's like, should have been actively doing this for years. It's just absurd to me.
It is absurd. It is absurd that we're here in 2020. But I thought too, I was reading this and I thought this was really great. One of the other things that white people can do, and I'm so guilty of this, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to stop doing this. But Rachel Cargill on her Instagram was saying, it's really offensive to Black people when they tell you about racism, when they tell you about being arrested, for no reason. And white people go, oh, wow, I can't believe that happened. And I'm like, you know what, God, I've done that shit for years. And it's like, stop, it happens. Believe it, and she is such a great voice, I think, to tell, because I can't tell you how many white people I have those conversations with. It's like, wow, I can't believe that. I would never do that. It's like, well, guess what? Other people are doing it. So we got to stop acting shocked and, take out our checkbooks and donate, or call up our local police departments, vote people out of office, support people of color. I love, there's also a great action plan too for the workplace of how to get more people of color and voices in your work office. And that is so important. I thought that was really, really good. Because how many times do you look around a room and there's not diversity?
Yes. Especially I was listening to a couple of podcasts that are speaking about it, and they're saying, they grew up in predominantly white neighborhoods. It's not your fault for where you came from. You can't change where you grew up. You grew up in a predominantly white rural area in Maine, Sarah, but it's your responsibility to educate yourself and then change how you raise your children. You don't have to live whatever it is, but just educate your children on how to treat others. We're all supposed to be treated fairly and equally. And I think the reason why so many people grow up racist is because of where they grew up. We need to change the cycle. teach your kids. You know, I was watching those videos of parents that have to, African-American parents that are having to tell their children how to prepare if a police officer stops you. Like, that broke my heart. That should not be something you have to teach your children ever, how to protect themselves against someone who's a police officer who is essentially trying to protect you, you know?
Right. Yeah, 100%. No, we do. We have the onus to educate ourselves. And I think the thing I totally understand from hearing so many Black voices is they are exhausted. You know, they're exhausted having to fight this fight, go home, worry about their children every single day, their sons, their daughters. Oh, and then, by the way, tell white people what we're supposed to do. It's like, no, we got to go. You know, in therapy, our therapist always gives us the analogy with Dan and myself. And she always says, you know, in a relationship, no matter what relationship you're in, a work relationship, a marriage, you're always basically carrying a backpack filled with rocks, you know, always, because life, there's so much shit going on in life, right? And one day, you know, one partner carries it. And then some days you carry it together. And then the other day, you know, maybe for a week, the other partner does. And it's like, okay, we got to come in and help carry the fucking backpack, not wait for instruction. You know, it's like, do your research, get on board. How can we help carry the backpack, not take over? How can we just help assist in carrying the backpack? Angela says, having an open conversation like this is also helpful. There are many people that can benefit from listening and having more open discussions. Open ears, open hearts create space for change. Absolutely. And Angela, I've got another question I want to pose to everybody, because I thought this is really good. I've read this in several places and on several guides. And it said, you know, racism, subtle racism, micro racism, lots of times starts in white families, and not just white families, but it probably happens in Hispanic families, happens in Asian families, because it's like that one person in your family that will tell a racist joke, right? Or make like a subtle racist comment, and everybody sort of like lets it go. And I've been guilty of this in my own life. And I'm curious what people have done. You know, no one wants to start a problem, right? Because it's easy for me personally. I'll talk about myself. In my case, it's easy for me. Like, if somebody online doesn't like me, it's like, fine, right? Because that person's gonna, who cares? I've never met them. I don't really have a relationship with them. Maybe they make a good point. Maybe they don't. But when you're talking a family member who is racist or subtly racist, or maybe has a good heart, but doesn't realize that they are, you know, perpetuating racism, how did you begin to call them out? Because I said to Dan, that is a challenge that he and I have to both take on. But, you know, we both have huge families. And, you know, you've heard those comments. So what do you know, I am curious, what people, do you call out your family on it? And how did it go? Because I think that's going to be the biggest challenge too for white people, is we all know that person that makes these inappropriate comments. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, okay. You know, all right. Well, you know, that Karen's a real fucking piece of work, but no one wants to call her on it.
Yeah,
so,
it's usually around Thanksgiving, whenever you're seeing your Aunt Sue. You haven't seen her in like 8 months, and you just like get drunk because you don't know how to deal with it. The way to deal with it is actually stay sober. This is a problem for me, because I'm like, okay, I need to like attack this head on and call them out.
Yeah, me too. And I want to hear from someone, if you called out your family members that have micro racism or full on racism, how to go. Yes, call them out in private, Luis says. All right. I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great challenge, because I see that on the documentaries and I think, you know what, that's a good challenge to white people, because we all know. You
all have that family member that's old school, doesn't understand it.
100%. Unless, I mean, maybe your family is super woke, and I think, hey, that's awesome. But, you know, you get together on Thanksgiving, you get together on Christmas, you get together 4th of July, you always know somebody. And it's like, or they say like, you know, they have derogatory things to say about gay people or whatever. And it's like, you know what? In the past, I've always, you don't want to cause a problem. You just make a note of who they are in your head. But you're like, you know what? No, fucking say something. Say something. My sisters and I, so Michelle says, my sisters and I are just open and tell them to stop. And usually it starts a conversation, and we just tell them why it's inappropriate. If things get awkward or bad blood happens, then good riddance. But mostly they understand why we tell them not to say what they said. It's much easier to correct the nuclear family than with extended family. Okay, I like that. Thank you, Michelle. That's good. Alexandra says, call them out always. It's not about being rude. It's doing what's right. Yep. Totally agree. That's how I feel about some of my family members. They're older and from a country where they never saw a Black person. Then coming to America was a true experience and gave them stereotypical views. It's so hard to change their ways. Jennifer, I think that you're not alone. And I think that's one of the calls that's happening is people are saying, all right, white people, time to, do that. And it's a tough conversation to have. It's a tough conversation to have, but it's got to happen. So AJ, I'm curious, like what do we think and everybody in the comments, you guys, again, you two everybody here is probably way more informed even than AJ and I are. What do you think the next steps are? And I'm talking like predictions. What do you think is going to happen next? The protests continue? Do we think any change is really going to come? Do we feel like...
Yeah, I think it's going to take a long time, which I'm upset about, but that's just kind of how we have so many people in this world. You're not going to change everyone's opinions overnight. I think the most important thing is just get different leadership in there and someone who is going to take action and really make a change. And I just think it comes down to someone, we all need to look up to, one person or it's, a whole organization, but we need to look up to something that tells the people what to do. So many people look up to false people that we shouldn't be looking up to. And I just think that, it starts with the leadership. And I think we all can do in small ways in your community, be that one person or become a part of a group, get informed. And I think slowly we have made progress, but it's not anywhere close to where we need to be. But I think it will take a while, unfortunately. But laws need to be put in place.
Oh yeah. Well, you could, and I have talked about this subject, but I want to become more active in this subject. But one of the issues is you have very, very strong police unions, incredibly strong. And those police unions are the ones that give these men and women who, do things like what happened with George Floyd representation. Right. And, police unions are very, very politically well connected. And, they have deep and, big connections. So they use those and rely on those. And, also within it, you've heard about it a lot too within the police community. You have that thin blue line where police don't want to rat on other police officers. And one of the best books you can read, and we've had this gentleman on, Jim Trainum, who's a longtime homicide detective in Washington, D.C. Jim, it's Jim, and it's Trainum, Trainum, has an amazing book out about calling out, police brutality, police injustice within Washington, D.C. Police Department. And he goes into how they fucked with his pension, and this is a white dude who stood up and goes, what is happening is wrong. And other police officers to this day will not speak to him. They try to, absolutely destroy his name. So, you got a lot of problems within the law enforcement organization. And it's like, how does that change begin?
The officer with George Floyd, he had many complaints put against him and nothing was done. It's like, if there is a complaint, we need to have higher restrictions for these police officers. If they make one or two offenses, they need to be out. They need to be reprimanded just how we reprimand any criminal. They're doing the same type of crime that we see with someone who is killing another human being. You know what I mean? Like there just needs to be way higher restrictions for these people that are supposed to be protecting us. I just don't understand how he was even let out back into the police force after so many racial problems he's had in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. My God, that is, I'm trying to look for Jim Trainum's book because it's so good.
Yeah. And I appreciate Jennifer saying the police officer shouldn't be afraid to speak up as well. Killer Mike, the reason why I think his speech was so powerful was because he is a Black activist, but his family members are in the police force, so he can understand both sides of where we're coming from. Yeah,
that's right. Because Killer Mike's dad was a cop, right? And
I think his uncle, there was like 3 family members, so he understands.
Okay. Hopefully I'm saying, is it Lee or is it Lai hopefully I'm saying the name correctly. I came from an Asian family. Asians are also racist with their own kind too. The lighter your skin, the higher your place in the society. There has always been a stigma on darker skins for Asians. Yeah. I mean, look, racism, exists within every culture. Absolutely. We all have a ton of work to do. It's just, we got to do the work. That's the thing. It's like a lot of people talk about it, but then it's like, we got to really do the work. And that's the thing. I think that's the biggest misconception about life in general too, is everybody thinks that everything should come easy, right? Relationships should come easy. I should just love my work, be passionate about your work. It'll never feel like you're working. Let me tell you, every fucking thing in life is work. Everything. I love this show. We love this show. We love comedy. But guess what? It's work. I have a great marriage, but it's after years of working at it. And we have to go to therapy every month to keep it good. You have to work at it all the time. Guess what? White people, we want to be allies. We got to work at it all the time. Being a good parent. And and it sucks when you realize that, because nobody tells you that in life. It's like, oh, happy go lucky,
You're doing great. Yes.
Great. Don't stress. Well, guess what? It's a lot of fucking work and then we die. No, that's like really
damn.
Like
she's ranting. No, I just think hold yourself accountable every single day. Remind yourself every single day, and be honest with yourself, because even sometimes I'll catch myself and say, hey, that wasn't right.
Absolutely. You can make good on it at any time. Now, wait a second. I have a question. Is there a Louisville Police Department update on Breonna Taylor's, on that murder? Has there been any update, any status? They are being awfully quiet down there, the last that I checked. And then I want to ask you, AJ, Don Lemon on CNN had Jane Fonda on, and over the weekend called out a lot of celebrities. Don Lemon said that he called to see if they would be on CNN to use their platform and talk. And a lot of them said, sorry, or their people said, you know what, so-and-so can't be on because it could really affect their brand. And, people of all different backgrounds buy their products or listen to their music. How do you feel about celebrities saying, well, it's not really on brand for me to talk about racism in this country?
That's an injustice. Considering how big their platform is, they need to use it. As I'm saying on here, even if you have the smallest amount of people, if you can help one person, you're doing something. And who cares about the money? This isn't about money or brands anymore. This is past. We're talking about human people, right? This trumps everything. We're talking about real lives that have been lost. And if a celebrity can't come out and use their platform for the better, then what are they even out there for? They've lost all lost all touch of reality if they're still concerned about showing off their brand. Who gives two fucks about a brand? What is a brand anymore if you're not fighting for humans? I don't understand.
I know. I spent a lot of time.
Has no brand.
Yeah, humanity has no brand. That's great. I spent a lot of time looking over the weekend celebrities to see who was speaking up, who wasn't. Now I know. Yeah, go ahead.
So who is being vocal? Like, what are the celebrities that are taking? Like I said, I mean, God, it goes on and on. But were there ones that they mentioned certain names that absolutely said we cannot? Maybe they just don't even know what to say. They're trying to educate themselves before they make a comment. But I think it's their job as a celebrity.
Well, Kevin Hart came out and spoke. And actually, when I was driving back from DC, Dan and I listened to Kevin Hart on Joe Rogan. And Kevin Hart was talking about how he I think it's Chase Bank that he's teamed up with. And they're basically allowing Kevin to go into or they wanted at first to send these white bankers into inner cities to talk to kids about finance and how they can begin to save and become entrepreneurs. And Kevin was like, that shit's never going to work. I need to pick the people. And to their credit, they were like, okay, you run the program. So he was talking all about that. And I was like, I'm really curious to see what he said. I thought he was good on his social media page. Now I know Jay-Z and Beyonce, Beyonce came out and said something, and then Jay-Z got a lot of heat, but I do know, and I'm sure everybody saw this, that Jay-Z apparently called the mayor of Minnesota, the governor of Minnesota, to talk about the George Floyd and demand justice, and then, to change how the investigation was done. And I believe that happened. So I thought that was really great. And I see a lot of, like I said, I see a lot of other podcasters, a lot of other celebrity names. You said Nikki
Glaser. She was just posting some of the protest in Minneapolis, because that's where she is right now with her family. And she said, I don't know if I have the right really to say this. She's obviously, her brand is comedy. We can relate, but she saw an injustice and she used her large platform to do it. Now I did listen to her podcast this morning and she didn't really touch on it, but she used Instagram to post about, an injustice she saw on the news. So.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think, and you know what, Paul Warren actually put this into perspective for me earlier today, because I said, I don't want to be a person on my platform that just posts, or reposts a picture and doesn't do shit really behind the scenes.
Yeah,
and Paul said, well, yes, but every bit matters, just like everybody that has a platform, if you're putting out, information, that's really important, even if that's all you're doing. And so that made me give pause, because I thought I've seen a lot of podcasters put shit up. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but are you doing anything? You know?
Yes.
But I thought Paul had a good point to that. And yeah, I mean, and a lot of celebrities have Chrissy Teigen. You guys are right. Chrissy Teigen, Nick Cannon, Jamie Foxx, LL Cool J. Also, Justin Timberlake, I saw made a huge donation. And then a lot of people turned on him because he was supporting the protesters to get them legal representation. And I'm all for that because a lot of protesters are there, protesting rightfully, getting arrested. Right. Good. Right. They need the right legal representation. So terrific. Those are all good name people that are helping out a lot. Angela says the other part that needs to be addressed are the children. Children of all races are seeing this, and parents need to have good, productive conversations with them. Teach your children that racism is wrong, yes. Should never be condoned, and love, respect for everyone equally is what we need. Angela, say it again. Yes. Yes.
It starts at the home. That goes for everything, really.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
That goes for everything.
Man, I just hope that love and education overrides ignorance, because I get a little concerned. There's a lot of ignorance in this country.
Yeah. And a lot of times we forget about it until shit hits the fan and we're like, okay, we cannot ignore this anymore.
I know. It really is. Guys, this has been so good. I love that you all are on here. You guys have great conversations that are happening. Thank you for putting this all on here. And humanity is not a brand. I think that's so good for celebrities.
Humanity has no brand. Yeah.
Humanity has no brand.
Why would we even care about the brand anymore? It's like no one's even going to buy your shit if.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Hello. If we don't have an economy, if we don't have love, if we don't have equality, if people don't have all rights to follow and chase their dreams, guess what? People aren't going to buy your fucking stuff.
Right. That's the whole thing, right? That's what they're worried about.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of that, you want to talk? Okay, is anybody protesting today or know where there are protests? Leave those in the comments. Definitely would love to hear from you. Portia from Real Housewives of Atlanta posting how to contact her for cash. She's out there too. Wait, is she giving away money, or you can donate to an organization that Portia has? Debbie's going to write it. God, we haven't even done any commercials. Well, you know what? Humanity trumps commercials.
That's what we're saying. Humanity has no brand, Sarah. We need to follow our own.
Oh, shit. We didn't even do them. Guys, anybody that you want on here as a guest, I think is great. I think, too, I would love to have people on and talk about racism within their own race. I would love to talk. I'd love to have people on this show, how you had open conversations with people in your family making racial comments. Email me, Sarah, SARAH @heyfrase.com. Come on. We can always conceal your identity, change your voice too, if it's something, because look, I know family dynamics are always tricky. So we can definitely do that if we need to. But I would love to have that conversation. I think it's interesting within the Asian culture. I think it's interesting people who've called out family members.
Yeah. And you wanted to discuss, I know you wanted to doing it maybe Thursday night, but if there's a better night for everybody, we always listen to our listeners, suggest if you guys want us to do it Thursday night, what time is good for you guys. And I think having an open conversation is a really good way to have these discussions.
Brittany says the problem is that ignorance is hard to battle against. Girl, I agree. It is hard. But, I think the thing is yes, you're always going to have ignorant people, right? But if we can make actual political changes, if we can reform, bank policies, judicial policies, then that would make a huge difference, even though you're always going to probably have some very ignorant human beings. Let's see. Allison says racism gets passed down to the children. They aren't born this way. It's being taught. But what do you do when the parents are racist? That is scary. Is that these parents will continue teaching I agree. That's what I'm saying, about ignorance. What do you do? But I think, I always, and somebody said that to me, I actually think it was Paul this morning when we were talking. Paul always said people get it at different times on their time. And I thought that was really great because, I'll admit it. Years ago, when I first heard white privilege, I was like, what are you talking about? My parents didn't have any money. They worked really hard. A lot of white people initially think that's what white privilege is about. Well, I worked hard. My parents they came from nothing. My grandfather was in World War II and, he was a prisoner of war and all that stuff. White privilege isn't taking any of that away from you. What it's saying And I thought Jane Fonda said it beautifully on CNN the other night. She said, what even the poorest of white Americans have skin color privilege, have white privilege,
right?
Which essentially is, I've never been pulled over, worried about my life, worried about being falsely accused of anything ever. That's what white privilege is. It's the privilege that you get from the color of your skin. It's not taking away any, it's like, how are people going to accuse me in a store or look at me or follow me around of stealing? Probably not. They're probably not, because in their mind, they already have bias about white women. Oh, she's, upwardly mobile, or she's this or that. But a Black woman walks in and instantly there is a different years of racism, years of conditioning that automatically go to, well, could that woman be stealing? And it's like, that's all that we're talking about. So if we can, as white people, we got to stop taking that phrase white privilege offensively. It's not offensive. It's not offensive. No one's, like you said earlier, AJ, no one's saying for you to be born a different way.
Right.
You're born the way you're born. No one's saying that. But then what are you going to do with that responsibility? What are you going to do to say, okay, yeah, you know what? Absolutely. I get the benefit of the doubt a lot of the fucking time. And we all see it in corporate America. We see it in a lot of places. There's a lot of white people, a lot. You automatically have, but you still have to work hard. It's not that. It's
right.
Just recognizing that and then calling out people, calling out those corporations. Hey, you got to be diverse. Everybody's got to have a place at the table.
And I'm happy you brought up Jane Fonda, because she's one of the active white celebrities that's using her platform for good, for sure.
She's awesome. Yes. And Jane Fonda is so great. And talk about someone who's been protesting for years and years.
Yeah.
And now that's a way to use privilege. That woman gets arrested. She gives zero fucks. She's rich. She's Hollywood royalty. And she's in there, speaking her mind. And I don't think Jane gives one fuck about her brand. And for years, for years in Hollywood, people would not hire Jane Fonda. When she protested in Vietnam, oh my God, they called her all kinds of derogatory things. It was like Hanoi Jane, they wouldn't even hire her for years. And that woman prevailed and keeps fighting and using her voice. YouTube Q says, make sure you're protecting Kimber. Love her. I know. Hey, look, believe me, Kimber schools me. My niece, who's mixed race, she tells me what I should be doing, which I love. I'm so proud of her. She has such a strong voice, and oh man. And it's every generation, I think, gets more and more, you have more hope. Let the young people run them. Why are we having these ancient old farts still in office? Right? Should be an age cap on the president. If you're over 55.
That's true.
I mean, I will say this, age does bring you a ton of wisdom. It does. It does. A ton of wisdom, a ton of experience. How old was President Obama when he got elected? Was he 40?
He was one of the younger ones. Yeah.
46, maybe? It's a good age. It's a good age. You got a lot of vitality in you. Trump. That man, though, I swear to God, it's almost like, McDonald's hamburgers are like, his smoothie. He honestly pops a few French fries and then keeps going.
I don't know how he hasn't had a cholesterol heart attack.
How?
So far.
We're all baffled. Melinda says, she doesn't like, sorry, I don't like Jane Fonda. I'm a military veteran. Well, that's understandable. I get it. Jennifer says, oh, wait, I'll stop clicking in there. Anyway, do we want to talk some pop culture? Like I said, AJ and I we're going to be really honest with you. And we said that from the start. It's really hard to come on here and have a comedy show today with everything that's happening in the world. It's really hard. If you want comedy, you can definitely leave it in the comments, because we are going to continue it. As AJ mentioned, let us know if there's a night. Danny Starr has said that she would come on here and do basically like a white person AMA, where it's kind of a safe space to ask any questions that you've wanted to ask. So we were thinking about doing it this Thursday night at 7 or 7:30, but if there's a better date, please include that. I am going to hit some commercial spots, and then why don't we talk just a few pop culture stories? We'll talk those, you guys weigh in, and then certainly we can keep this conversation going. So I want to talk, Kylie Jenner is not speaking to Kris Jenner because Kylie lied about being a billionaire. Don't even get me started. I'm becoming I'm going to become a protester, because you know what pisses me off? We got to stop following these people. These people lie. They manipulate us.
Oh, it's completely manipulated. But the thing is, I don't even know who to believe anymore. So it's like, all right, who cares if she's $900 million or if she's worth $1 billion? It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. No.
I don't think she's worth 900. I don't think she's worth $1 billion. I think she's probably worth about 400 million, maybe, which I talked about this on my TikTok and people are like, she's a lot richer than you are, bitch. Yes, she is.
Well, the sad
guess
thing
what?
is,
I'm not.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, the younger generations are always going to defend because they grew up with her. They see her as like a companion, someone to look up to. She's got fake lips. It's like they look up to the wrong idols. It's fine. They'll get over it eventually.
What was interesting? I've been reading some articles about this, and they were saying that the makeup business is really not that profitable, and that the whole thing with this Kylie Cosmetics, and even what is Kim have KKW Beauty or whatever?
KKW Beauty, yep.
That they've inflated their profit margins for a very long time, that the makeup business really is not that profitable. And I'm really curious. There's another expose story. Shit, we're giving BuzzFeed all their fucking material all week. But I'm curious about that. But, can you imagine? Do you believe for 1 second, either Kris Jenner or Kylie's team, they falsified tax returns, don't you think, to make it look? Absolutely.
Well, of course, Kylie tweets, I had no idea. I literally did not even know. I thought Forbes was a reputable website. They should be doing their own research.
Bitch, they did it. They asked your tax accountant for your tax returns and you falsified them. What else do you want them to do?
It's insane. But who really, like I said, I don't care how much she's worth. I never have. I think does it really make them look like their brand is huge? Yes. I think that's inflated them. We're like, oh my God, they're so successful. Like, all of this stuff that they've done, that's what bothers me is like, okay, let's actually bring to light the truth of Kylie Jenner, that she's not actually worth all that, but I can give two shits what she's worth, whether it's $1 billion or it's 400,000. She doesn't even own 49% of the company. She owns 44% of the company. So that was even good to find out. I mean, it's like a little small boost of happiness in my day. Yes. Oh, Kylie Jenner's not worth $1 billion. Oh, okay, good. Just keep that in my back pocket for when I'm just really angry.
My question is, does anyone tell the truth anymore? Does anyone tell the truth? Well, anybody, hello, hi. Could you guys tag one celebrity that we feel is absolutely 100% transparent? Why is it so hard to be truthful? Even if they're only worth 55 million, okay? That's huge. Why do you have to be like falsifying things to make it look like you're a billionaire?
Doing the most. The Kardashians should be just called extra Tashians. They just love being extra. Yeah, stop the fakery. Yes, 2020. Let's stop the fakery.
I think that shit is going to get real because I think for the past 10 years, economy's been flying. Things have been great. I think we have just idolized, anybody with a sex tape, which I'm going to be honest, I love sex tapes. I love celebrity sex tapes. I love all that stuff. But I think we got to, you got to look at them as entertainment and that they're probably lying to keep all the drama going.
They have to. 50% of their show is all made up drama. It's all false, dramatic effects, all of that stuff. Yeah,
I agree. Anybody else, did you have any interest in Brittany Murphy, like when she was alive?
Oh my God. God, yes. I was obsessed with her. I was so sad when she passed away. Yes.
Okay. Well, there's a new documentary on Discovery ID. I watched it over the weekend. Did anyone watch Brittany Murphy's documentary?
I saw the commercial for it and I was going to bring it up to you because I know you love your documentaries. But
I love it too.
When she passed away, I found it so weird how the press handled it. It like just floated away. It was like Brittany Murphy passed away. And then we moved on to something else and no one talked about it.
Well, I won't give too much away of the documentary. I'm going to be honest. I did not think this documentary was that great. I don't think it reveals anything.
What?
No, it really doesn't. I think you're going to, now you guys can, if you think I'm wrong, it's, whatever. You can tell me I'm wrong, but I don't think it's that good. I don't think you learn anything new. The only like somewhat stunner, but they don't even really fully investigate it, I think to the point that they could, is they allege that Brittany Murphy's mom and Simon Monjack, her husband, would sleep in the same bed together. Yes. And cuddle each other. Yes, and cuddle each other to supposedly get through their grief.
Oh, hell no. I see right through that bullshit. Nope.
You're telling me you all live in a $3.7 million mansion in LA and he can't sleep in another room?
Okay, head to the East Wing, brother. Wait a minute. So you believe that he was much older than her, right? So he's actually
Yes.
around her mother's age.
Yes. Now Brittany Murphy was his third marriage. Simon Monjack, he was a movie producer, and they had known each other. Now, did you know this too? Did you remember that Brittany Murphy had dated Eminem?
No.
Yes, girl. Yes. Y'all got to get on this documentary.
Well, because she was in 8 Mile. She was the girlfriend in 8 Mile. That's where they sparked the romance?
Yes. They apparently had a hot and heavy thing going on during 8 Mile. Now, I thought Eminem was with Kim during that. Remember Kim, his ex-wife, for like years. I thought he was supposed to be with Kim during that time. But they go in the documentary about how Britney and Eminem had this ongoing relationship.
I like them together.
Now, one of the other big things of the documentary is supposedly Brittany Murphy and Simon Monjack were allegedly poisoned by the mother, that the mother killed them both. If that's true, guys, this is fucked up.
This is real. Well, she was so young, and she had problems with drugs and alcohol, right? She was a substance abuser. Well,
see, here's the thing. This is why I think the documentary does such a shitty job. I think the documentary does such an injustice to Brittany Murphy's acting career and life, right?
Okay.
So, okay, I thought she had a drug problem too, but she really suffered from anemia and like a heart condition. And because she was so thin, they kept letting her get thinner and thinner, and she didn't really eat. So she ends up developing anemia. So allegedly in the documentary, they say that Simon and the mom medicated her with all these like, prescription like muscle relaxers and anxiety pills, all these things.
Oh, okay.
So they thought that she was like acting lethargic and had all these issues, and so they were self-treating her. And the saddest part of this whole thing is basically if they had just taken her to the doctor like a year before and they would have run some simple blood tests, they would have found out that she essentially had like anemia and some other like heart condition or whatever.
She just needed to eat. So basically the people that ruined her life were her husband and the mom, who were in cahoots together.
Yes. And Simon Monjack's mom is in the film. She says that there's absolutely no way that Simon Monjack was having sex with Brittany Murphy's mom.
Oh, really? Okay. I don't believe it. I loved her. Oh my God. She was my childhood. Clueless. God, that guy is hideous. Okay. He must have hypnotized her. I'm sorry, but why in God's name? Oh, are they grieving right now in this picture? Are they grieving together?
That's how they would grieve, is what they said in the documentary.
They look like a couple themselves. I'm sorry, but they look like the same age. They look like they're high school sweethearts. No. And why was Brittany Murphy? She was, oh God. Yes.
Actually, I'm going to be honest. Those two make a lot more sense together than he did with Brittany. So I think it's a good match.
Right. I'm like, okay, they found each other. Great. God, Claire, he is. I'm sorry. I hate to say people are unattractive, but that man, I'm not sad to say, is UGLY.
UGLY, you ugly.
You ugly. Oh God, what
fabulous.
What a horrendous matchup. Oh my God.
Horrendous.
She should have stayed with Eminem.
Horrendous. Well, they said that she couldn't really make it work. She also dated Ashton Kutcher. But like they always kind of left, the guys always kind of left her. God, we need to get Eminem on this show so bad. I want to know about what she was like.
Eminem will treat you better than Howard Stern did. Please come on.
Marshall, we will be so much better to you than Howard.
Marshall, we love you.
Marshall, come on the show for God's sakes. We know you. I mean, I'm heading to Michigan in a few weeks. I'm going to try to get the guy who sings Bored in the House, and I'm in the house Bored on. He lives in Detroit. I'm going to try to get Marshall. I'm going to try to get Kid Rock.
So your idea is to say that you're in the same state as them and then hope they'll come on just virtually, even though you're in the same state. But let's just hope that they'll virtually come on our StreamYard show. Hey, I'm in Detroit. Let's virtually meet up.
Well, I've hit up the guy. The guy who's bored in the house and in the house bored. But he hasn't hit me back.
Because he's too busy being bored in the house.
That's the fucking story of my life. I reach out to all these celebrities. It's like, and then I reach out to them again and again. And
that's what you got to do. That's what it's repetition, guys. Same thing with getting woke. Repeat. Get informed.
You're best friends with Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen adores you. If people are just discovering this show, AJ was on a very famous NBC show called Bring the Funny. Now, it didn't get renewed for season 2, but that's beside the point.
Besides the point, it was only one season. They only needed to be one season. It's fine. It's fine. We obviously showed out in the first season. We don't need a second one.
Sometimes those are the best. But Chrissy Teigen adored you because you do a Kourtney Kardashian impression. Hit everybody with some Kourtney Kardashian.
You guys, it just came out that my sister is not a billionaire. That's baloney town. And my mom, Kris Jenner, dropped the ball. She is crazy forever releasing false tax statements. And we actually are worth trillions of dollars. Bible. That's all for you.
I love it. Chrissy Teigen named you the best Kourtney Kardashian impersonator of all time. That's how good you are.
Thank you. Yes. And I had an out of body experience when Chrissy Teigen came up to the stage and I hugged her. Yes, it was a great moment. Yeah.
So there's also a report over the weekend that Kanye West and John Legend, Chrissy's husband, no longer speak. I want all your thoughts on that.
I can understand that. Kanye is a wackadoodle. No wonder. John Legend got out while he can. Kanye is lactose intolerant.
Did you see the tweet that somebody put up and they said, if you would have told me 10 years ago that Kanye West would be rocking a MAGA hat while Taylor Swift is tweeting at the president for reform, I wouldn't have given you $1. And a cent. And here we are, folks. Here we are. So
I could have never thought.
What do you think? Now let's speculate here. I love speculation. I love a little rumor. What do you think? Now John Legend was very diplomatic and said, we're just, we both have families. We're creating different kinds of music. Kanye's doing gospel. I'm working on other things. So that's why we haven't spoken. What do you think is the real deal there? You think people in Hollywood have turned on Kanye?
Yeah. I don't know why more people haven't turned on Kanye. I think he is crazy. I mean, yes, we love the gospel and the rebranding, but I just think it's all fluff. I don't feel like I can trust Kanye. I wouldn't leave him with my own children, which is a harsh thing to say, but and what point has he given me? Look at him. All right, this is a bad picture of him. He looks a little off right now. We're showing it on the live stream, but
someone find a picture where he doesn't look off. I mean, that's the challenge.
Please. I just think I don't even know where to go with him. He's so unpredictable. And I actually didn't know that him and John Legend were like best buds prior to their falling out, supposedly. Like this is the recent falling out, right?
Okay, well, I'm going to give you a way throwback. Like, I can't even remember. Was it 2004? I think it was 2004, 2005. I saw John Legend and Kanye West at Mount Holyoke College, which seems like a really odd. I know.
Stop, Sarah. If they used to do appearances at an all-girls school at Mount Holyoke, you guys telling me they did an appearance.
I swear, do the Girl Scouts fucking honor because everyone. I don't even know why I did that. Anyway,
stop.
Swear on my life, before they were famous. I remember around Mount Holyoke College, which is this all-women's college in Northwestern Massachusetts or whatever. They go, hey, these two really amazing performers are coming, Kanye West and John Legend. You got to go see this show. I'm telling you, if it was a crowd of 2,000, maybe. All right. These guys were amazing, but they were at this, and I could have probably had sex with a normal Kanye West, but when I don't even know where well, actually, I'm going to be honest. I had a mullet. I looked worse for wear back then, but yes, they came out
a mullet.
They fucking killed. They were amazing. Yes.
Okay, so obviously they did little tours around the United States. I guess they went to colleges. That was pre-major fame.
Well, because I believe John Legend wrote a lot of music, played piano, did composed a lot for Kanye, and then Kanye would come out and rap. This was before graduation album.
Okay.
They were amazing.
Well, I do find this interesting because Chrissy Teigen is close with the Kardashians. What I thought, while I was on Bring the Funny, she's like, oh my God, I'm going over to Kourtney's house later today for a birthday party. Let me send her a video of you. I was like, fantastic. So for them to just say that they're no longer friends is just maybe it's just a John and Kanye thing, but they, Chrissy and the girls are still friends.
God, there's another show topic for tomorrow, which is if your spouse has a falling out with someone, can you really remain friends with somebody else in the couple? Because I don't think you ever can.
Really? I think you can. What if your relationship goes deeper? Okay, maybe the men became friends because Chrissy and Kim were already friends, but if the wives are new friends because of the husbands, then they can no longer be friends. I understand that. But if your relationship comes before you met your husband, remain friends?
That's a really tough one. I don't know. So I'm trying to think if Dan had a falling out with a couple, like, could I really go hang out with them? I don't know.
Just go without him.
I'm really ride or die Dan right now. But
yeah, right. You're ride or die. You know what? It's because you've been stuck in the house and bored of the house with him for the past 3 months. Give it 1 month without him. You'd be like, yeah.
I'm stuck in the house and I'm bored with Dan. No, wait, I can't rap. Angela says those Kardashian women have put their men through the ringer. I'm telling you, Angela, Kardashian curse is real. I've always said it. Always said it.
They be dragging them.
All right, look, I got to hit a couple commercials. Then we're out. Dragging. Guys, if you're not a member of our Patreon community and you want more of this, we love you so much. We are working on that. It's just $5 a month. We give you 2 extra podcast episodes and an extra video. Currently up there is Danny Starr's thoughts on Kane exiting radio. If you know the history of Danny Starr, she was been a longtime radio personality, television personality. And of course, Danny and I connected because of our times separately on Hot 99.5. She talks about that experience. It's $5, patreon.com/Hey Frase. Cup to Cup podcast. We love these guys. 4 friends out of Florida, and they have a hilarious show. If you enjoy the comedy on this show, hello, cup2cuplife.com is their website. Follow them on TikTok, Twitter, IG, and Facebook at Cup to Cup Show. Cup to Cup Show. Thank you. They are a wild and fun bar talk style comedy podcast with unusual stories, drive by our game show style segments, Florida man headlines, controversial brackets, 80s action movie is the current one, and zero politics. Their show is great. I hope to get them on here in the next couple of weeks, but the guys are so funny. So definitely go to iTunes, go to Spotify, download Cup to Cup, or follow them on social media and tell them that you heard about their show from the Hey Frase Podcast. We really, really love them. Also, I have to shout out Barnard Medical Group. Guys, taking care of your health is so important right now during coronavirus. We all got to take care of. We got a lot of fights to fight. You got to make sure that your physical and mental health is in the right place. And Barnard Medical Center helps you do that. They're plant-based, but they don't force that on you. They are there in medical groups. They're seeing people via Zoom all across the country. PCRM, you can follow them on Instagram and their Twitter, or you can find their Facebook page at Barnard Medical. They're also currently doing a 21-day vegan kickstart app to utilize meal plans, recipes, and cooking demonstrations for nutrition. You can download the 21-day vegan kickstart. That's the name of it. Barnard Medical Center combines medical care with the latest advances in prevention and nutrition to help create a health care plan designed just for you. Use your telehealth service to receive medical care from the comfort and safety of your very own home. Telehealth appointments are currently available for residents in California, New York, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Maryland, Missouri, Massachusetts, Arizona, and Colorado. To set your first appointment, call 202-527-7500, or you can create an account on their patient portal. You might have seen this on my social media, but their patient portal, you can just go to barnardmedical.org. Their website is barnardmedical.org, and you will see patient portal. They accept all major health insurances as well. barnardmedical.org. Take care of your mental health, your physical health. AJ, you guys, we love you so much. Thank you for being on this show. Tell somebody about this show that has never heard of the Hey Frase Podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, everywhere podcasts are distributed, or almost daily. We're doing live shows on our YouTube page. It's Hey Frase on Facebook. Love you guys so much. Andrea.
Love you guys.
Mañana. Love you, everybody.
See you mañana. This was a great conversation. Love you guys. Continue to work.
Yes. Love you. Bye.